Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Prince, my best friend married Mary Lubbers, whose father and grandfather were the presidents at Hope College.
Small world.
I want to start by asking you about a question or a statement you made on page 3 of your written statement that you shared with the committee, where you wrote, "The company and its personnel are only accountable under and subject to numerous statutes, treaties, and regulations of the United States." And then you went on and attached to your statement a list of existing laws, regulations, and treaties that apply to contractors and their personnel. Is that the document that I'm holding up?
Yes, sir.
Is it your testimony today, under oath, that all Blackwater employees working in Iraq and Afghanistan are subject to the Uniform Code of Military Justice, the Military Extraterritorial Jurisdiction Act, and the War Crimes Act?
It is my understanding that is the case, yes, sir.
All right, well, let's look at this document. I want to ask you about it. This document, the Uniform Code of Military Justice, applies in the time of declared war. You would agree that there has been no declared war in Iraq or Afghanistan?
No, but I believe it's been amended to include contingency operations.
Is it your understanding that a contingency operation would apply to what's going on in Iraq and Afghanistan?
I'm not a lawyer, but my layman's understanding is yes.
All right, and then it says to persons serving with or accompanying an armed force in the field. Do you see that?
I don't have it in front of me, but you're reading from it.
Well, I'm just reading from the document that you provided to us. If that's what the Uniform Code of Military Justice provides, you would agree that based upon your own description of the activities of your company, there are times when your employees are not serving with or accompanying armed forces in the field.
There are times when U.S. military units are actually embedded in our motorcades.
But to answer my question, there are times when your employees are not serving with or accompanying armed forces in the field. Isn't that correct?
Sir, I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not going to give you that level of detail. If you want a clear written statement as to the a company opinion, I'm sure the State Department can answer what their opinion is on that. But we've looked at it, and we feel comfortable that the guys could be brought under investigation with those ruling legal authorities over their heads.
And then let's look at the Military Extraterritorial Jurisdiction Act. Section 3261, criminal offenses committed by certain members of the armed forces and by persons employed by or accompanied by the armed forces outside the United States. Circumstances where your employees would not meet that definition based upon their service in Iraq and Afghanistan.
I believe that was changed yet again to include any U.S. funded contract.
Well, that's the definition that applies to U.S. funded contracts from the statute.
Again, I'm not a lawyer, sir. I'm sorry.
Then let's look at the War Crimes Act of 1996, which applies if the perpetrator is a U.S. national or a member of U.S. armed forces. You would agree, based upon your testimony today, that there would be circumstances when some of your employees would not meet the definition of perpetrator to be covered by the War Crimes Act.
Again, I'm not sure, sir.
Well, you testified that you hire some third country nationals. They would not be U.S. nationals, would they?
Yes, correct.
And they would not be members of the U.S. Armed Forces.
But they're serving in a U.S. DOD contingency operation.
Then let's talk about these payments that have been made as a result of deaths that were related to the conduct of Blackwater employees. One of the payments that we've been provided information about was this $15,000 payment to the guard's family who was guarding Iraqi Vice President Mahdi. Are you familiar with that payment?
Yes, sir.
Did you have any input into the determination of the amount of that payment?
I discussed it with some State Department officials, yes.
Did you feel that it was a satisfactory level of compensation for the loss of that individual?
I believe the cash that was paid was $20,000, not $15,000.
All right, $15,000 or $20,000. Based on the information that we've been provided, one of the things we know is that Blackwater charges the government $1,222 a day for the services of some of its employees. Is that correct?
I believe that number is lower.
Well,
the chart that we provided the committee shows a blended average significantly less than that.
Assuming that figure is correct, if you take someone your age in the United States and look at the U.S. life table, you'll find that somebody your age in this country has a life expectancy of 40 years. So if you were to take that rate of $1,222 a day, multiply it times 365 days a year, multiply it by a 40-year life expectancy, you would get a total lifetime earnings payout of $17,841,200. You would agree with me that pales in comparison to a payment of either $15,000 or $20,000.
Gentleman's time has expired, but you can answer the question.
Your calculations there don't make any sense to me, because that charge, that $1,200 charge that you're talking about us claiming that we charge the government, that includes aviation support, some of those helicopters that got shot down, that comes out of our hide, gear, training, travel, all the rest. So I'm not quite sure how that math works out, but I'd be happy to get back to you if you have any written questions.
Gentleman's time